Ellis gets the start in the Panthers' goal here in Ottawa with Roberto Luongo nicked up. 19-year-old Alexander Barkov has been strong down the stretch as the Panthers' #1 center. For Ottawa, Craig Anderson is back in goal. He lost last night in Toronto. It's basically a playoff game between the Cats and the Sens. From Ottawa, Panthers hockey is on the air, and with just 7 games left in the season, it's a game dripping with playoff implications, and the Panthers lineup has a different look. Both of these teams are trying to catch the 8th-place Boston Bruins. 4 points separate the 3 teams. This is the Panthers' final shot to beat Ottawa. Still 2 left with the Bruins, who are in action right now. They are taking on the Carolina Hurricanes. What a big Sunday in the playoff race. Hi, everybody, along with the Hall of Famer, Denny Potvin. I'm Steve Goldstein. Bill Lindsay will join us shortly. And for the Panthers, Denny, a huge change. Goaltender Roberto Luongo, day-to-day with an upper body injury. Dan Ellis gets the start.
Well, it was not expected, certainly, because Roberto Luongo had no problems playing back-to-back other than the fact that the upper body injury is limiting him. So the Florida Panthers are going with Dan Ellis, who actually, in his career, has beaten the Ottawa Senators both times he's played them, and he has shut them out one of those 2 times. Brad Boyes is out. He is a healthy scratch, and in comes Steven Kampfer. But he's going to play on the wing. That'll be kind of interesting. Coach Gerard Gallant talking about upgrading the speed on the right side.
All right, but no problem upgrading as far as scoring our Cleveland Clinic players to watch the red-hot top line of the Panthers.
Well, I tell you what, it's like every night we're going to talk about them, but that's okay with us. Look at this shot by Huberdeau, top shelfer against Toronto. And then Barkov going to the net. This is as pretty as it gets, folks, against maybe the best goaltender in the world. And this is a power play goal where he got his 2nd of the night in Montreal. And, of course, Yager doesn't stop, giving a little bit of experience to the young players while on the bench.
Since the trade, the Panthers playing at over 100-point pace, but they need this one today. Bill Lindsay will join us next when we come back. He'll chat with Captain Willie Mitchell. The keys to this battle against the Senators is next. We get set for face-off. The Panthers and the Senators. It's a big one, Billy.
Absolutely, Goldie. This is a big one for the Panthers. Ottawa Senators red hot. This is a must-win game for the Panthers. Willie Mitchell's played in a number of big games. I caught up with him and asked him what is the key for victory this evening.
A good start, playing percentages, advancing the puck, not turning over the puck, feeding transition, putting pucks in the right areas, and just being patient with your game, trusting your teammates, trusting your system. Details this time of year, it always is. Games get closer, games get tighter. You got to scratch and claw for every inch, and you got to make the right plays at the right time.
The Panthers are in need of 2 points, and it's a direct head-to-head matchup with a team directly above in the standings. It's big game time from Ottawa, and we'll face it off next on Fox Sports Florida.
Des hymnes nationaux.
Or
is always a treat coming to Ottawa because of that man, Lyndon Slewage, with both anthems. And we are ready to go. And what a big battle we've got on our hands here on this Sunday. The Boston Bruins are 8th in the East. They're getting underway at Carolina. There's Ottawa 1 point back. The Panthers 4 points back, trying to draw closer. Washington Capitals, by the way, leading their game in the third period right now over the Rangers, and BB&T takes us inside the nets with a change for the Panthers.
Well, it's a big change for the Florida Panthers, totally unexpected, but an upper body injury is limiting goaltender Roberto Luongo. And Dan Ellis is coming into play. Dan Ellis, of course, a save percentage of .922 this season. There you see his record. And he has beaten Ottawa twice in his career with a shutout as well. So, Dan Ellis has played well for the Panthers so far. Roberto Luongo obviously disappointed, but will be, as you can see, dressed as backup. Well, Craig Anderson, many of you may remember him in South Florida. He's battled injuries all season long as well, but did play against the Florida Panthers twice this year, and he has a 1-1 record in the series against the Panthers.
Ottawa's lost 2 in a row, and they've allowed 9 goals in those 2 games. Anderson and the Senators were up 3-1 midway through the third in Toronto last night. Lost that game at overtime. Panthers lost it overtime last night to Montreal. And Roberto Luongo, it's a recurrence of that upper body injury, so nothing serious, but he's sitting out today. And there's the Hamburglar, Andrew Hammond, who's banged up. He's back as the backup goalie for the Ottawa Senators. So the goalies shuffle on for both teams. There's who's out for Gerard Gallant. You know about the Bukestad story. Unfortunately, Gallant and the Panthers lose their leading goal scorer. And Boyes and Thornton out with Stephen Kampfer back in the lineup, and he will play forward. Tough loss last night for the Panthers. They're hoping, as far as the officiating is concerned, they get a little bit more respect. You know, they worked so hard, Denny. The Panthers are the most improved team in the NHL this year, from ownership right on through everybody in the organization. They hope to earn that respect. There were some very tough calls and some tough people, upset people with the Panthers, as well they should be. Gerard Gallant noting after the game. So here we go in Ottawa. And quickly, we get a stoppage right off the draw because the clock on the scoreboard says 0.00, and it's not Mr. Blutarski. That's supposed to say 20. Our young viewers may not know what I'm talking about.
Well, Goldie, to further your comment about the officiating, Bill McCreary, who is the supervisor of officiating, is in the building. I had a chance to talk to him a little earlier. He was really responsive to the conversation he had with the Florida Panthers. Nobody blaming anything, but basically saying that, look, you know, just try and make sure that the officials are calling it fair.
Well, what they're looking for is consistency.
Yeah,
you know, that
exactly.
The penalty last night on Trocheck,
Yeah.
if you're going to call high sticks anywhere, you got to call when Aaron Ekblad gets a tooth knocked out. So that's really what they're looking for as they set the clock here to start this game.
You know what was interesting is that as I was about to make the comment that on a high stick, the one Gallagher that knocked the tooth out of Ekblad, all 4 officials on the ice can make that call. And so the question is it possible that 8 eyes, 4 pairs of eyes could miss that in open ice when the puck was not far away? So anyway, that is behind. The Panthers got a point, and it's a whole new day here. 5 o'clock start in Ottawa. Huge game for the Florida Panthers. And Yager said to me, like a Game 7. No kidding.
Here comes Goodbranson, hammering one from the blue line, and Craig Anderson will glove this right off the get-go, and we do get the whistle down.
Panthers have only had 4 power plays in the 3 games on this road trip, so definitely would like to get some more opportunities on the power play.
Well, you know, you're talking about the power play, Billy. The Florida Panthers had not been able to connect very well, and one of the keys was to score on the power play last night. And they did that on their only power play, and it happened quickly. So tonight, late afternoon, whatever you want to call it, power play again key if they get a chance to go with a man advantage.
Out at center, Kyle Turris. He has been on a roll. The speedy center, and Eric Goodbranson. Oh, they're going to call a penalty here on Goodbranson. And right off the get-go, another tough call against the Panthers. Oh, wow.
Well, here's the play. By dumping the puck ahead, you're cheating the game of hockey, and the referee bites.
That's the style Gudbranson has to play, though. That physical style, that's what you want.
Boy, oh boy, we just finished with
I know. It's kind of like they may have listened to us, and they're just giving it to us there, Goldie.
You want to be quiet, my bad.
Exactly.
Senators on the power play here. Oh, a big moment early in this game. The shot blocked. Dave Bolin puts pressure on Carlson. Taken by Kulikov and cleared. It's Kulikov with Mitchell on the penalty kill here as the two defensemen.
Well, you remember last night, a couple of power play goals hurt the Florida Panthers, and you had Mitchell with the youngster Petrovic on both those power play goals against.
Offside here on Ottawa.
So there's a little change in the lineup tonight, and in so far as the Florida Panther defense. There you see Willie Mitchell. He is playing regular shift with Gudbranson, which we've seen in the past. One pair has never changed. Right from the beginning of the season, Campbell and Ekblad have been playing together, and then you'll see Kulikov and Petrovic as a third pair. Making little adjustments to try and improve the ability to win hockey games. Happens every day, happens during the game at times.
Well, in essence, last night, Montreal got the two power play goals, but the other goal they scored was scored a second after the power play ended. So, in essence, 5-on-5, the Panthers really controlled that game, and all three goals for Montreal were on the power play. There's a look at Dan Ellis. Denny, he has played well when Luongo's been hurt.
Well, he certainly has, and I think the fact is I hope that the way he plays, which is really cool and calm, kind of reverberates through some of the players on the team. We talked also about a little bit of indiscipline in the game, lack of discipline, I should say, in the game in Montreal that also hurt the Florida Panthers.
The Bruins underway in Carolina. They've scored already in the opening minutes. They lead the Hurricanes 1-0. Hoffman moves back to play it deep in his own zone. Petske and McKenzie looking to put the pressure on. Zibanejad at the Panther line. They've got some young, skilled forwards, this Ottawa team, that have been performing well, part of their success, and now we're going to get another penalty, and this will be an interference call the other way.
Yeah, I mean, the fact is they're going to call it tight. You're going to see this at the blue line. A little contact. Chiasson makes contact with McKenzie, who goes down. Not a lot of contact. So it gives you an idea right now that the referee's going to make the call. But take a look. Chiasson stays right in position. He says, I have not moved my position, and was in the contact, but that's a pretty good bit by the youngster. He was acquired from Dallas in the trade for Jason Spezza, and interference call is made.
4-on-4 here for a little while. So two interference calls in the opening 147 of this game.
Well, they're going to call it tight here. They're not going to let anything go, and that's kind of what you learn right off the start when you're paying attention. The referees are a huge part of your hockey game. If they're going to call it this way, don't take any chances. Yeah,
if it's consistent and they're establishing that, that's fine, as long as you know. Chipped out to center ice, and here comes Cody Ceci up on the wing. Peugeot out in front, Ceci. Good defensive play there by Brian Campbell to thwart the scoring chance. Jokinen to center for Florida. Throws one in on goal. Glove by Anderson. And he holds it, so in 8 seconds, the Panthers will have a power play for a little more than a minute.
Brian Campbell makes a real veteran play on this one. You've got to read the situation, and obviously he does. Watch as we see the thing going. Now, all of a sudden, you've got a 2-on-1. He is not sure that his forward would be able to come back, and he gets down on the ice, makes sure the puck doesn't go through. Defenseman Ceci is unable to make the play to the front of the net. Well read on a semi-desperate play, a play that's needed by Brian Campbell.
The Panther power play is now on. Condra throws across ice, and the Senators have possession. Panthers got a power play goal last night in Montreal, scored by Barkov. He's on with Huberdeau and Jágr. They have been red hot, and Barkov speeds in, gives to Huberdeau. It goes through him. Jágr cleans it up. And now down low, it's Barkov again for Jágr. Barkov goes to the front of the net. Ekblad tried to get it in the slot from the feed from Jágr, knocked away. Huberdeau holds it in. Huberdeau down low, Jágr again. Huberdeau, Ekblad straight on. Here's Kulikov now at the circle. Ekblad takes a shot, deflected high off the glass. Huberdeau controls. Panthers in possession on the man advantage. Looking for the first goal. Barkov puts it out in front. Loose puck in the blue paint. Does Anderson have it? He does. And then Jágr gets into it with one of the Senators.
I'll tell you what, well, we're going to show you something once this breaks up a little bit. But you saw Detroit do it against the Florida Panthers. I think the Panthers have learned something from an experienced team. Look at that little flat pass. That's a flat puck play, I call it, right to the front of the net. Throw that puck in there like a marshmallow, and look at the scrambling in front of the net that occurs. With a little luck, Huberdeau might have gotten his stick on it. Love those little marshmallow flat puck plays. I invented it, and I'm having trouble saying it.
Trocheck, Peary, and Hayes now on for the Panthers. With the no goal last night for Peary, he didn't score in Ottawa. It stopped an 8-game road goal streak for Brandon Peary. He had to go all the way back to early January, the last time he didn't score on the road. They also held him shotless. Give Montreal credit. He took 4 shots, but none got on net. They were all over Peary. Panthers try to get him free for some attempts. There's a shot by Peary as the power play is over for Florida. Jimmy Hayes down low. Batted into the slot. And Chiasson out of the box. Able to dump in.
You know, a team game like this means that when things are going like that for Peary, meaning double coverage, it's got to mean that either Jimmy Hayes or Trocheck have a little more time. So they've got to start shooting the hockey puck and taking control if they were given more time by the opposition.
Panthers need some secondary scoring. Last 8 games, they have 18 goals, and 12 of those goals have come from 3 players.
And that Barkov line with Huberdeau and Jágr has been the offensive line. Of course, you could always just pitch the shutout, and then you only need one.
I like that idea.
Oh, yeah, you know what?
It happened between these teams earlier this year, but the wrong way.
Branson with a shot on goal. Anderson had some trouble with it, and he's able to grab it.
Ottawa won that one 1-0. Well, just to let you know about Anderson, he has suffered through some injuries all season long as well. And up until recently, his problem seemed to be a bone bruise on the hand. So I don't know if that is still affecting him, but he played his first game last night. Tried to come back a week or so ago, maybe 2 weeks ago. Played again against the Boston Bruins, lost that game, and then was re-injured. So goaltending situation as Ottawa has not been a heck of a lot better.
It's loose. Oh. Anderson out of his net. Kopecky trying to jam at it. Kampfer is out there. His first shift as a forward. Now Mitchell shoots, knocked down in front. Between the legs for Kopecky, didn't get to the net. McKenzie shoots, saved by Anderson. Kampfer on the backhand. Anderson again. And oh, what a start for the Panthers.
Now.
And Steven Kampfer now playing forward, getting into it. This is the second time in his career he has done this. He played a game at forward with the Boston Bruins a few years ago.
Okay, folks, you tell me now, okay? Goodbranson gets an interference penalty, and Berowitsky gets nothing. Watch 74 in the red. Watch as things go on. Now, you're telling me that now we're starting to allow punches to the head. Watch what happens. There's a cross-check down. It's not over yet. Another cross-check. Watch this. Boom. Punch to the head, knock the helmet off. 2 cross-checks and a punch to the head. That's okay. I don't mind. But make sure you allow that at both ends of the ring.
So the Panthers just throwing pucks at the net, and what a start for Florida. 5 minutes in, they've got all the shots in the game. Strong effort early in a face-off win here.
You know, when you consider what happened last night in Toronto, Ottawa really finished the game poorly.
Petrovic fakes the shot. It's Jokinen straight on. Takes a shot. Oh, kicked out by Anderson with that right pad. Yeah, they had a 3-1 lead on the Maple Leafs with about 8.5 minutes to go and then lost it in overtime. Remember, Toronto, a team that in this calendar year has only won 6 games. Carlson cranks one up. Loose in front. Oh, and somehow it stayed out of the net.
Somehow. Unbelievable. Right leg save by Ellis, I believe.
Right in front of me.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
Dan Ellis, 3-2-1 in the 6 games he played. Remember those 2 regulation losses. Tough 1-goal, low-scoring games against the Rangers in Montreal. Here's Legwand fighting off a check. First pressure of the game for Ottawa. Point shot, but it's a busted stick for Mathot. And the Panthers able to clear it all the way down and get the line changed.
Well, the Florida Panthers, I should say, throughout the season have had twice. They've had three game in a row winning streaks, and one of them was with Dan Ellis in the net.
Icing call here, or offside call here. No, it is icing, actually. My fault.
Well, we're going to show you the save by Dan Ellis. And again, Dan Ellis has faced Ottawa twice in his career. Shut him out once, but won both times. This is what we're talking about. The rebound, look at that. That is the rebound shot by Chessel, and the right leg comes out like a piston.
Just underway here in Ottawa. Big one between the Panthers and the Senators. Panthers hockey on Fox Sports Florida is brought to you by your South Florida Lexus dealers. Proud sponsor of the Lexus Rink at the BB&T Center. By ADT, the most trusted name in security. Call 1-800-510-9067 for your free ADT quote. And by Subway. Visit Subway.com. Subway. Skate hard. Eat fresh. We are back in Ottawa, the Panthers and the Senators in that scramble for a playoff spot. Along with Boston, 4 points separates the three teams, and Dmitry Kulikov getting some repairs. Yeah. Another high stick against the Panthers that nobody sees.
You know, the fact is that's not following through on a shot now. That's a high stick to the face, and they don't see it. Okay, well, I guess it's fair game. So it's going to be...
Here comes the Huberdeau moving in, and he just misses wide.
He tried for that same top shelf. He hit it Toronto.
Oh, boy, a chance there for the Panthers, who have had a lot of pucks towards Craig Anderson so far in this game.
We're not going to belabor that last highlight we showed you, but I just want to make it clear. That was a clear cross-check across the face, not called.
Huberdeau in front, tees it up, but it's blocked away by a sliding Mathot. Good Branson fires from the sharp angle, and Anderson again. Ooh, a spirited start for the Panthers and a great opportunity for Huberdeau.
You know, he's looking down at his stick. Things are going so well for Jonathan Huberdeau that when he gets this opportunity, you know, this one didn't get through the net. The one after that, he was able to get a really good shot on goal, and he just missed high trying to hit the top shelf. Remember that one? That was tucked in against Jonathan Bernier in Toronto, right between the goalpost and the crossbar. Or right inside.
Anderson getting a workout early on.
Yep.
Zibanejad battling with Barkov. And Mathot able to get out of the zone. Bobby Ryan up on the wing, but he didn't play it cleanly, and the play is offside.
Ottawa has one shot on net, but there was a glorious scoring chance against Dan Ellis, and big shot from the point. And then right on the doorstep, look at that right pad dart out and make that save on Chiasson. Pretty impressive save by Dan Ellis to start. The only save, but it was a big one.
He hasn't played for a couple of weeks, and that's the only shot he's seen. He makes that great save. That's not easy to do.
You know, what's not easy, too, I think anyway, the way he propelled himself with his left leg, because he was already on the ice.
Battle down low, Brandon Peary in the corner. And now Trocheck fires it up to the line. Good pass. Petrovic slap shot blocked away by Greening. Played around the boards. Kulikov moves over and holds it in. And then it comes out off his skate.
By the way, Kulikov was bleeding after that hit and had to get some repairs while we were away.
Nearly 8 minutes gone by here in the first. Loose puck at center. And Lazar is on it, cutting in. Drop pass, the shot is blocked. And now a shot goes wide by Peugeot. Well, it looked like a little miscommunication there outside the Panther blue line. Kulikov and his forward didn't seem like they were going to go get it, neither did. Kampfer playing forward again in this game with McKenzie and Kopetsky.
What a terrific defensive play by McKenzie right there, eliminating the shot.
Oh, Kampfer in front, got a piece of it along with McKenzie. Anderson grabs it in the glove. Fox Sports Supports is teaming up with the Boys and Girls Clubs of America to help young people reach their full potential through programs that promote character, leadership, education, and more. For more information, visit foxsportsupports.com. The shots heavily in favor of the Panthers now at 10-1. Craig Anderson has been good in his career against his former team, the Panthers.
You know, putting Kemper on the wing here on the McKenzie line really adds the potential to score. And they've had a couple of really good chances already in this period. You saw the scrum earlier in front of the net. Kemper was right in the middle of that. Got good speed, so he can play on the wing.
He also said he played not only that one regular season game with the Bruins a few years back, but a preseason game with Minnesota at forward. He was on a line with Zach Parise and Mikko Koivu.
Ouch.
That's a pretty good way to do it. And
a nice way to start.
he was actually a centerman until he was about 11 years old, and he said he went to a tryout and there are too many centermen, so he moved to D.
Oh, no.
Ekblad's nicked up.
Jokinen's in with a shot save, rebound, as Ekblad heads off the ice.
Yeah, nicked up a little bit. But he got pushed from behind, going to the back of the net for the puck.
Hoffman puts it in front. A chance here. Ellis with a big save. In the slot, it's Cowan. Greiba with a shot blocked away in front. Greiba holds it in. Another shot from the point. Dan Ellis, sharp, back in the lineup for the first time in 2 weeks. And let's take a look, Denny. What happened to Aaron Ekblad?
Well, Aaron Ekblad went down, and he fell hard, a little bit out of control behind the net as he's going to get the puck. Take a look. There's the cross check. It hits him, and of course, there's no call on it. That's, of course, we're saying that now. And Ekblad goes in a little bit out of control. You can see Slow getting up. He did take a look at the referee. Fortunately, didn't say anything because the way this game's being refereed so far, there might have been a misconduct penalty.
A little bit of hot and sarcasm there. Not that I blame you, in all seriousness.
It's getting a little overheated here.
Here's Yager moving in. Good Branson down low. Puts it out in front. It comes to the point. Willie Mitchell. Slap shot kicked out by Anderson. Barkov on the back check. Wouldn't let Turris get through cleanly. But Condra does carry in. Condra's sharp angle went right through the slot. Hopping off the bench. Able to play it. Borowiecki. Ceci with a shot. Blocked by Huberdeau. Taken by Huberdeau. Ceci put the pressure on him and forced the turnover. Here's a chance for Turris. Blocked by Goodbranson. And he'll bang it off the glass. It will be icing on the Panthers.
Now, the Florida Panthers coming off the game last night, there's a couple of differences I see. When you're really getting beaten bad in a hockey game, one of the things you talk about is, look, let's end the game strong so we can start the game strong next time. That's not what happened to Ottawa and Toronto, whereas the Florida Panthers did play very well throughout the game in Montreal, even though losing in overtime on a power play goal. That's one of the differences I see to explain the majority of shots on goal in this period.
Oh, that one from a sharp angle is stopped by Ellis. Here comes Yager.
A 12-3 lead in shots on goal already.
Barkov throws it cross ice. Greening is there. Peary puts the pressure on him, but the smooth skating Erik Karlsson, #1 in the NHL in defense scoring. Ellis with another stop. Karlsson has 19 goals and 60 points. Panthers rattle it down again, and it's another icing call. Well, the Panthers have one more road game Tuesday, and then they're back home on Thursday night. It's the Cats and the Hurricanes. Be there at the BB&T Center. Final 5-game homestand of the season. And ticket reps are standing by right now at 954-835-PUCK. This is the Panthers' final game this season in Canada. They performed very well north of the border, going 6-2-1 this year up here against the Canadian teams. Petrovic able to hold it in momentarily. Now cleared, and it's Alex Petrovic again. Trocheck at center, flips in. Hayes bearing down on Karlsson, but he unloaded quickly. Pajot up to center, lead pass, look out. Lazar has Karlsson with him. There's the pass, there's the shot, and Kulikov blocked it.
You know, the Panthers seem to me like they've blocked more shots already than you normally see. Very good at getting in front of the puck here in this first period.
To your point, Danny, Ottawa's attempted 13 shots towards the Panther net. 8 of them have been blocked. Here comes Hoffman. Stick handling in. The drop pass knocked away. Chiasson. Ooh, a battle with McKenzie here. They're going at it. They feed the point. Greiva shoots. Blocked by Campbell in front.
Right.
Kopetsky sends it all the way down, and it will again be going for an icing call on the Cats.
You know, the Florida Panthers have had good individual plays. We saw Brian Campbell a little earlier. Take a look at the block shot here by Kulikov as he goes down. That was a pretty good setup, 2-on-1. One of the things that you're going to expect from Ottawa is a lot of speed. They like to come in off the rush. They like to follow the puck to the net. They cause havoc.
Off the face-off, the shot redirected, went wide. Panthers couldn't clear. Look out. Turris puts it out in front. Ellis got a stick on it. Again in front. And Thomas Kopetsky will skate out of trouble and get the red line. And Kopetsky's going to give chase here. Condra on the clear.
Condra just got a high stick to the face. That's why the fans aren't happy. So, Danny, things ain't going out a bit.
Well, let's hope so. Not that I want people to get sticks in the face, but...
Either call them all or let them all go.
Yeah,
Your guys point. Yep.
You're a little unbalanced there, but...
It's Craig Anderson's second game back. He had a hand injury on the hand that holds the stick, Billy, and the Panthers have tested him early on.
Craig Anderson not playing a lot of hockey. He's missed 25 of the last 28 games, and Panthers tested him in Merlin. He's looked shaky. Has struggled to handle the puck. You take a look at some of these shots. A lot of these shots are going to the glove side, but you can see he's bobbling the puck, misplaying it. Not a lot of confidence. And when you're looking at a goaltender, it's his rebound control there. He just simply muffs a puck. Huberdeau tried to go high against that glove side, but Anderson right now, kind of a shaky start. He's made the saves, but you got to wonder where his confidence level is at. Gave up 4 goals last game against Toronto, and you can see the other teams he's played for, Chicago, Florida, and Colorado, but a little shaky for him to start this game.
Ironically, the Panthers made the trade to get him from Chicago when they traded Roberto Luongo years ago to Vancouver. Anderson then moved on. Anderson's only started 6 games before today over the last 2.5 months. He's allowed 20 goals in those 6 games, so it's been a bit of a struggle in and out of the lineup. And now Willie Mitchell has a little something going with Greening as Scotty Upshall was shaken up.
He fell into the boards awkwardly, did Upshall, and stayed on the ice for a little bit, but now at the end of the shift, he's finding his way back to the bench. A lot of hockey's been played. There it is. You see, he kind of missed CC and went into the boards a little bit out of control. He is being attended to by Dave Zanobi on the bench.
And Roberto Luongo, a bit of an upper body tweak, if you will, day-to-day, but not in the lineup today for the Panthers on the second of back-to-backs. He is the backup goalie. Dan Ellis is in net, and he has started off very well here. Huberdeau trying to dig it out and clear, but it's Peugeot. And now Carlson with a shot deflected off Kulikov's stick. Clark MacArthur. Senators have picked it up a bit over the last 5 minutes or so after the Panthers really dominated the start of this game. They had the first 8 shots of the game. Barkov on the clear. Carlson cut it off. Lazar, the 20-year-old, cutting in. Barkov back defensively. He gets checked. Lazar puts it right in front, and it's blocked away by Petrovic. Oh, Lazar with a strong shift for Ottawa. And the Senators have some jump now. Carlson with the Panthers in a change. Glove save by Ellis. And Dan Ellis comes up huge, out to meet the high-scoring Ottawa defenseman.
That's what Ottawa does so well. They charge the net. And too much room. You can see all of the white ice. Defense got a little mixed up on that play. And there was a line change. So you can see the quick transition almost helped out the Ottawa Senators.
Ellis strong early on, and we're scoreless. Scoreless in the first, a huge game for the Panthers. And some news today as they sign their 2011 third-round draft pick. Kyle Rao, who is captain of the University of Minnesota hockey team, finishes his college career. Not only teammates with with the Panthers' Nick Bjugstad. They were roommates together at the University of Minnesota. He will report to the Panthers' AHL team, San Antonio, which, by the way, has been red hot. They lead the Western Conference. Panthers continue to build the organization from top to bottom. There's a look at another Cats draft pick, Vincent Trocheck, from a few years ago.
You know, we talked about that earlier. With all the attention being paid to Peary, it may open things up 5-on-5 for Trocheck.
Hoffman takes away at center. Hoffman puts the brakes on. Looking, throws one towards the net. It bounces in front. Stopped by Ellis on Chiasson. Point shot here. Gryba fanned on it. And Hayes throws it down the ice. Boy, Dan Ellis. And again, I want to reiterate, not easy sitting for 2 weeks, getting the call today, and stepping right in. And he has made some quality saves here, Denny.
You know what? He is a veteran, obviously, and is playing like it.
These saves have been right in front of me, too. And what's impressed me, he's been aggressive. A couple of saves really out-challenging the shooter. He's looked quick. He's looked sharp.
Boy, bouncing puck here in Ottawa.
Condra over the Panther line. Picked up by Turris. Deflected by McKenzie. Those two bang. Brian Campbell. And now Kopetsky fires ahead. Oh, look out. It's a turnover. And Stone walks in. And Ellis got a piece of it. And then it skimmed off the crossbar. And out of play. Oh, the Panthers need to be careful at center. The Senators can turn it around in a hurry.
You know, one of the messages before the games is to be careful on those cross-ice passes. Florida Panthers have outplayed, I'd say, every team they played against in the last week and a half. Talking Rangers, talking Montreal, talking Detroit. The only time, and Tampa Bay that is, and the only time they really got themselves in trouble is when you make an individual mistake at a turnover. Not so dissimilar than that attempted pass by Kopetsky. So those kinds of plays you really want to try and limit. You need to keep the puck going north-south, limit the risky east-west passes.
Limit them. You don't want them at all. None. Zero.
Bolin now for Hayes and Jokinen at center. You see Jokinen trying to settle it down. He does and sets up Jimmy Hayes, the backhander on goal. Stick save Anderson. Hayes grabbing this shift. Remember, Upshaw got shaken up.
Yep.
So Hayes now on this shift with Bolin and Jokinen. Kulikov on the pinch. Keeps the play alive. Bouncing puck off the glass.
Jimmy Hayes got the puck on the backhand and was trying to get it to settle down. It was still up on edge.
Petrovic waits for some traffic to clear, and they complete the change with the Barkov line on for Florida. Barkov scored both goals for the Panthers last night in Montreal.
Good opportunity for Petrovic to skate with the puck.
But Lazar takes away, batted towards the net, and Ellis pops it over to the wall. Stepping up is MacArthur on it. Clark MacArthur wraparound attempt, loose in front. Ellis point blank save on Pajot.
How do you even know the Pajot went there? How does he even know?
Yager swings it in deep. Boy, the Senators have had some great chances here. Now Barkov with a chance. It's blocked. Barkov again misses wide. Willie Mitchell with a shot. It pinballs in behind the net. Huberdeau for Barkov. Huberdeau again picks it up. A double team. Huberdeau battling, and then a penalty coming up.
Going to be on Huberdeau, I think.
Oh, boy, we're going to get a hook.
Oh, boy. Well, Jonathan Huberdeau lost the puck for a moment in his attempt to try and get free, and then in time to regain the puck, I think he put his stick up there, and that's where the hooking call will occur. So you'll see Huberdeau right here, the hook, and it's pretty obvious he was desperately trying to get the puck back.
Second power play of the game for the Senators. The first one was abbreviated. The Panthers held them shotless.
You know, Yager talks so much to Huberdeau and Barkov about spreading out, give yourself an opportunity to be a target. One of the issues there that led, I think, to Huberdeau's problem and penalty is the fact that The puck was in the corner. Yager was working hard, and both Huberdeau and Barkov were right on top of him. So they never really got that kind of control of the puck that they normally do and cycle down low. And keep an eye on staying away so you can be a target available for Yager when he does get the puck.
Steal here, Dave Bolland. Senators back defensively. Bolland trying to get it deep, but Stone took it away.
A little lax on that play by Bolland. That puck should have gone the other way, all the way down easy, but he took his time, and Stone just stole the puck from him at center ice. You know, this is a pretty quick transition team, the Ottawa Senators. Those turnovers at center ice, you have to limit them or get them off altogether.
Kulikov sends it around the boards, held it at the point by Hoffman. Carlson after it. Carlson's got it. Zibanejad has it go through. Penalty coming up. And this one will be on the Senators. Yeah, it's on Chiasson. That's why that puck was able to get through, and they are not letting much go here in the first.
It's tight.
Ottawa penalty number 90, 2 minutes for interference.
Second interference call on Chiasson in the game.
He can't believe that he's being called, but here's that trip with the right leg. Now he's going to try, basically say it was all part of battling for the puck as Petrovic goes down, but that's the call. And I'll tell you what, we said right from the beginning, once you see how the referees operate early in a hockey game, gives you a pretty good idea how most of the game is going to go, and they've been calling him tight.
4-on-4 hockey for the second time in the period. And the Panthers will have an abbreviated power play. They win the faceoff. Willie Mitchell for Peary, but Cody Ceci takes away. Zibanejad moves in. Over on the wing, Bobby Ryan makes a move. Lost possession. Trocheck pops it free. Brandon Peary hit over the line. Cross ice Trocheck. And played it back to the point, but too hard for Mitchell. Zibanejad moving in from the angle, shooting, saved by Ellis.
You know, if you're Trocheck, you just cannot take for granted that the point man is going to be open. Zibanejad was right on top of Willie Mitchell at that particular time and got the shot on goal.
15 seconds, Huberdeau's out of the box. And the Panthers will go on the power play for a little over a minute. Kulikov with 4 red jerseys at the blue line to meet him. Lays it down the wing, but Cody Ceci deflected to the middle of the ice. Condra clears. Panther power play is on, second of the game. As the period winds down, here comes Barkov over the line. The give to Huberdeau, but out of his reach.
A little trouble getting started here. Getting established, getting inside the zone. The entry has been slow.
Ekblad is now in, but fanned on the pass attempt.
Tough.
Remember they had those...
I wonder if nerves are playing a big part. They probably should.
Well, it wasn't to start the game.
This may just be the most important game for both teams this season.
Yager shifting in, centering feed, and the shot by Jokinen is stopped by Anderson. Great setup there. Final seconds. Ekblad will shoot, glove save, and that'll do it for the first. The Panthers had that great start, the first 8 shots on goal in this game, and then Dan Ellis came up big, and we're scoreless after 1.
Jaromir Jagr setting things up real quick for the quick shot by Barkov. Continues to play terrific hockey. He, the man, Jagr, and his young line mates.
End of 1 here at Ottawa. The goaltenders coming up big. We'll go on thin ice with the fellas from Fox Sports 1. You don't want to miss that. Always enjoyable. A look at what these young Panther players have done to help the best turnaround story in the NHL this season, and we'll go inside the first period as well. Dan Ellis getting the start here in Ottawa. The Panthers and Senators in what basically amounts to a playoff game. And we are scoreless after 20 minutes in Ottawa. The Panthers have 14 seconds of power play time to begin the period. We had 4 minors called during the first, and we also Had some rough stuff during the first period. Dmitry Kulikov, another high stick that was missed. Aaron Ekblad went hard to the wall. Of course, he came back into the game. And Scotty Upshall trying to shake it off as he went hard into the boards.
You know, they weren't stretching their necks, you know, Kulikov and Ekblad. They were both looking back at the referee saying, did you miss this? Of course, the referee would skate away. And right now, Kulikov is back. Upshall is back. Ekblad never left. So all good news as far as the Florida Panthers taking some bumps and bruises in the first period.
Boston Bruins lead Carolina still 1-0. Panthers are 4 points behind the 8th place Bruins. The Senators are 1 point back. And Dan Ellis, the big story, getting the start in this game. First time in 2 weeks with Roberto Luongo day-to-day, a recurrence. Bit of a tweak of that upper body injury. And Dan Ellis coming up huge in that first period. Panthers have used all 3 of their goaltenders in the 4 games against Ottawa. Luongo, Al Montoya's played. And now Ellis. Power play, the abbreviated one, is now over. So both teams are 0 for 2 in the man advantage. Ekblad sends Jágr on his way. Jágr carries, double team, chopped down by Mathot. Huberdeau behind the net. Able to fight off Kyle Turris. Then he takes the hit. Barkov. 2 aside behind Anderson's net. It's Barkov and Jágr for the Panthers. It's worked free to the corner. And cleared. And they wave off the icing very late on Brian Campbell. Oh, boy.
Well, that's not a good service to Brian Campbell. Basically, the referee's saying you could have gotten to that puck.
Bolin shoots right on, and Anderson makes the first save of the second period.
You know, the Ottawa Senators really got going, in my opinion, when Marc Mathot came back. He is a very solid defenseman. As a matter of fact, Gerard Gallant had him as a defenseman when Gerard Gallant was the head coach in Columbus. And, by the way, you take a look at a lot of the offense of Karlsson, that also got a lot better when Marc Mathot came back from injury. That was early in January. But I'm saying this because Marc Mathot is going to be glued to Jágr. That's one of the matchups you can be certain about most every shift.
Good shift here by the Bolin line. And Dave Bolin's got the puck. Plays it back down low. Jokinen in the race with Ceci. Those 2 to the corner. Good Branson steps up and got a stick on it. Upshall from the sharp angle stick save Anderson. It's Bolin again in front for Jokinen. Deflected into the corner. Good Branson again fires. Kicked out by Anderson. Upshall point blank. Anderson with another save with the right pad. What a shift by Bolin, Jokinen, and Upshall.
Well, that's the best that Anderson has looked so far in this hockey game. But those are all the shots that came from a distance. He saw the ball like every goaltender in the NHL. That's the one thing you want to try and get away from, is getting away from them seeing him. But good rally by the Florida Panthers.
Got to get to those rebounds.
Yeah.
Erik Gudbranson already 4 shots on net for the Panthers from the back end. Doing a nice job getting the shots through, creating those rebound chances.
And making the smart plays along the wall there, where to step up and keep the play alive. Trocheck gets hammered down at center. Here's Cowan deep in his own end. Hayes closes on him. Petrovic in a battle. Hayes there as well, but Lazar with a good play to work it free. Peugeot over the line, gives to Lazar. Puts it right in front. Carries all the way through to Jimmy Hayes. Floats it out to center. Peary just couldn't quite control that puck. Kulikov. Cowan cut it off. Here comes Peugeot. Has Lazar with him. Look out, Lazar in front. Here's Hoffman. Oh, what a save. Dan Ellis again on Mike Hoffman. Leg one. To the point, Mathot. Slap shot. Dan Ellis again. What a start by Ellis.
Oh, boy, there's not a better chance in this hockey game than the chance that Mike Hoffman had. Leading the rookies in scoring, Mike Hoffman just got stoned there by Dan Ellis, and that, folks, is our defensive play of the game. ADT, defensive play of the game.
Aggressive goaltending by Dan Ellis.
Yeah.
I like it. He's reading the play well, but when he gets out there, he's challenging the shooter.
You got to remember, he's been around. You know, he's a veteran guy. Was really good for the Panthers AHL team this year. And this is his 7th game that he's played for the Cats. He's 3-2-1. Had an awesome start to this one, the most important game of the season. The Thought paired up with Carlson on defense. Carlson for Legwand, the veteran dumps in. Campbell back there first. Hoffman knocks it down. Played over to the boards, and Steven Kampfer back in the Panther lineup playing forward. Just the 2nd time in his career.
Still some measure of concern for me of the quality of the scoring chances that the Senators are producing.
No question. I mean, Ellis has been great, which is great to see.
Yeah.
But he's had to be great because there have been some quality chances right in front. The stretch pass, Kampfer over the line. Kampfer takes a look, throws one on net, stopped by Anderson. Senators right on the rebound.
Yep.
Look out the speedy Turris, who's been hot for Stone. Centering pass, knocked away from Condra. And it did catch the netting. We get a whistle. The Panthers are coming home next weekend. Final weekend, Saturday and Sunday, and then the following Saturday, the last game of the season, April 11th, and you can get the family 4-pack for the weekend games. Ticket reps standing by right now, so call and get yours, 954-835-PUCK. Saturday, it's Tampa. Sunday, week from today, Montreal in town. Ceci looking for a lane, takes a shot, he missed the net. Borowiecki throws one on goal. Ooh, Ellis made the save, and then it skipped out to the other side. Huberdeau got it out. Huberdeau's on the puck, but he's separated from it. 4.5 gone by in this 2nd period. Final meeting this year between these two teams. Panthers 3 points behind the Senators in the standings. Barkov on a loose puck, but it's knocked off his stick. He recovers. Huberdeau, cross ice. Yager's after it. Yager's got it. Gives to Barkov in tight quarters. Barkov went right through the blue paint. Barkov again working in the corner. Huberdeau is there to get it free. Huberdeau and Yager. Stolen by Turris. Barkov strong on him, forces a turnover, loose in front. Huberdeau gets spun down. Borowiecki had his stick tied up. Play rolls on, Petrovic. Back down low, it's now Dave Bolin. Bolin at the sharp angle. Takes a shot, saved by Anderson, and the rebound again eludes the Panthers. Anderson's making the first stop, but the Panthers haven't gotten to those rebounds.
Willie Mitchell went down the tunnel for the Panthers. Left the ice and went down the tunnel, so not exactly sure.
Now, Zanobi went down to look like he was asking about it, and he's back. Meaning that Dave Zanobi, being the athletic trainer, therapist, it's not involving that. Maybe just the equipment, hopefully.
Cowan hands one around, and Bobby Ryan floats it to the center. Zibanejad moves in, tries to stick handle around Ekblad. Couldn't do it cleanly. But now, at the point, Greiba held it in. The shot deflected wide. Ryan again. Little drop pass. Oh, is that dangerous? Panthers were able to clear. Jokinen taken down, and it's a penalty on the Senators. And Jokinen a bit shaken up, but he fights it off, and the Panthers will get a power play chance.
Little late hit by Greiba, and they've been calling him tight.
Scoreless. The Panthers, though, are going on the power play now, Billy.
Panthers get a chance, their 3rd chance on the power play, and that's a big one for the Florida Panthers. See if they can take advantage of it. You knew special teams would be critical coming into this game. Barkov had a power play last game in Montreal, and good work, and the interference call right there is Greiba just put the shoulder right into Jokinen. No question on that one. So bad penalty by the Senators. Panthers get a chance on the power play. See if they can win this faceoff and get set up immediately.
Bolin will take it. Free right at the circle. Try to dig it out of there. Jokinen for Bolin. Bolin in front. Gives it back to the point. Peary with a one-timer. He didn't get all of it. Off the end boards, a chance. Anderson stops Bolin. Peary broke his stick. He's got a new one. They won the draw and got some great looks there.
If you don't have any bad luck, you don't have any luck at all. Brandon Peary, for the first time in a couple of games, was in perfect position, or at least for him, to get the shot on goal. The stick broke.
And then Bolin had a chance right in front again.
Yeah, but didn't want to put the backhand on net. That could be wrong. One of the hardest shots for goaltenders to stop is a backhand because they can't judge where it's going.
Hayes plays it back to Campbell. Peary set up again on that near side. They love to get him cranked up for the one-timer. Bolin's got it. Now it's Campbell over to Peary. There it is. He just missed on the stick side.
In a bouncing puck, it has been constant throughout this game. The pucks are bouncing a lot. We're noticing when during the break they come out with about 20 shovels right by Billy Lindsay. I can't believe the amount of snow they're taking off the ice.
Huberdeau, Yager, Barkov now on. It's Yager with the puck. Yager fighting off two Senators, but then stolen by Legwand. Pajot will just dump in, and then he's going to give chase here. Dan Ellis played it himself for Kulikov. Lead pass. Huberdeau at center. Takes a look, feathers one in for Yager. Yager to the forehand, cuts in front. Yager shoots and scores! Jaromir Yager on the power play. It's 1-0. This guy is magic.
You know what? We saw Yager do this a couple of times. It's not always that he's able to get around the defender, but here he is. He is one-on-one with Method. I told you Method would be all around him, but this time Method's not able to handle the stick, the long reach, and then it may have been overplayed by Craig Anderson as the puck went sliding, and I think it beat him short side. What a play by the strong Jaromir Yager, getting his third goal as a Florida Panther, and an all-important one to give his team the lead.
Huberdeau with another assist. Huberdeau's got 15 points in 14 March games since Yager became a Panther. Bolin goes down here.
Penalty
and
coming
things
up.
are getting nasty. Jokinen is tied up with Carlson out at center.
There's going to be an interference call on the play.
Well, is it on Bolin?
Yeah,
They're both going.
They're both going to go, I
Yeah,
guess.
he and Zibanejad
Yep.
both went down. For Yager,
63 for Florida, 2 minutes for high sticking. 93 for Ottawa, 2 minutes for interference.
okay, it's 2-2. They get a high stick on Dave Bolin, and they got Zibanejad for interference. Now, the reason Bolin's stick went up on Zibanejad, in my opinion, is because he got interfered with. He had no choice. So, in any event, both go to the box. Yager now,
I don't want to get into it,
to
okay?
sort it out, has 11 points in his 14 games with the Panthers.
We're going to talk to my buddy Bill McCreary.
Please do.
No, but that accidental high stick is called, whereas Carlson, who cuts Kulikov in the first period, accidental high stick does not get called.
Method battling with Upshaw as we're 4-on-4. Panthers got the all-important first goal from Yager. Good Branson in front. It went wide.
Well, you like how good Branson's keeping his head up and just getting that wrist shot in there.
Here comes Carlson with open ice. Look out. You know, he can move offensively. Method behind the Panther net. Blocked away by Jokinen. Kulikov got the second assist on the Yager goal, the 719th of Yager's career.
That long reach of Yager and that long stick, Method just couldn't get to him. Because of that stick, he just held it out there and then that quick release. But that stick and that length of it is such an advantage for Jaromir Yager, and he uses it effectively.
Tell you, there was a lot of player movement at the deadline. I cannot imagine a deal working out any better. Having gone through all the players traded, but Jaromir Yager for a couple of draft picks to Florida. Unreal. 6 points his last 6 games, and the effect he's had on his line mates has been remarkable. Here comes the speedy Hoffman. Campbell is back. Hoffman pulls up. Cowan now. Good play by Ekblad. He read the play well. Hoffman able to hold it in. Oh, Hoffman with a spin. Backhand cross ice behind Ceci. He's got it now. Ekblad meets him. Jonathan Huberdeau continues. Now a 4-game point streak for him. Barkov is in. Barkov controls, gets to the forehand, cross ice for Campbell. His shot right on save, rebound, Barkov trying to dig it free.
Well, I thought Barkov was going to do a little bit like a Jágr.
Here's Huberdeau turning, looking in front, penalty coming up. They jammed up Huberdeau, and the Panthers are going to go on the power play. Oh, what work by Florida, and again, they are the fourth highest scoring team in the NHL, Denny, in the second period, and they're at their best now again.
Well, I tell you, they're booing here in the building, but the referees, if they have been consistent in anything, is that they have been making all of the calls, skinny or not. And the fact is that you get the call because you draw it in the offensive zone. Great work by Jonathan Huberdeau in behind the net, drawing the penalty. First, Zibanejad in the box, and then you'll see Cowan just knocking down the Florida Panther Barkov, and that's where the interference call comes from. But it doesn't happen if Huberdeau is not so much in control of the puck in the offensive zone.
It starts off as a 4-on-3. Can the Panthers get possession? They can't. So now it's going to be a 5-on-4 as the Bolin and Zibanejad penalties end. What an opportunity for the Panthers midway through this game now. Dave Bolin swings it around the boards for Hayes. Jokinen took it away and gives to Campbell. They're watching Peary closely. Opens it up for Bolin, but his shot is blocked by Greive and goes out of play.
Well, that's where the other opportunity is going to come from. They are going to certainly cheat towards Brendan Peary. So a guy like Bolin will get his opportunities. He's just got to get that shot through. There is lots of room on the ice right now. The fact that there is a 5-on-4 setting up now, and the Florida Panthers still on the power play. They got a minute and a half. What an opportunity. That killer instinct we talk about during the season.
Peary one-timer. Anderson to save the rebound. Oh, and they had an open net, but Hayes just couldn't play it. Jokinen fed Hayes off the rebound. Peary again. Campbell. Cross ice. It's a one-timer Bolin, but it misses wide. Peary working along the wall. Jokinen there as well. And it comes out of the zone. Whoa, they came so close. If Hayes was able to play the pass from Jokinen, he had an open cage. Anderson with a little misplay there. And UC Jokinen takes away. Strong effort by UC Jokinen here today. Campbell. Down low, Jimmy Hayes through him. Peary's got it. And Bolin again. Hayes is out in front. Trying to screen Anderson. Brandon Peary one-timer. He missed it. And he went down. And it allows the Senators to take control and clear the zone.
Boy, Condra got a little lucky, too. He just tried to clear the puck and his stick broke.
Campbell lead pass. Barkov cuts in. Barkov holds.
I want to see that Barkov wrist shot again.
Power play winding down. It's Jágr. In front for Ekblad. Just knocked away by Mathot.
Oh, Mathot, the veteran defenseman, had an idea that somebody was coming behind him. I don't know that he was sure it was going to be Ekblad, but he intercepted the pass.
Turnover at center. And taken back the other way. It's Huberdeau for Jágr. We're 5-on-5 now. The Ottawa Senators get a big penalty kill there to keep it at a one-goal game. Willie Mitchell back in his own end, paired up with Eric Goodbranson. The Panther goal by Jaromir Jágr from Huberdeau and Kulikov. McKenzie gets it deep. Here's Steven Kampfer. Holding. McKenzie one-timer just missed. Cleared to the line. McKenzie, great hold-in. McKenzie feeds Kopecky out in front. And it goes high and out of play. Whoa, Kopecky had an opening there. As the Panthers have the only goal here in the second by Jágr.
Ottawa, the Panthers lead on a power play goal by Jaromir Jágr and Derek McKenzie. You want to talk about North-South hockey, straight lines? Derek McKenzie with this play, and don't try and force anything through the middle. Just dump it in, get on your horse, retrieve it yourself, and this would set up a chance by Thomas Kopecky.
And then there's the other play on the same shift, trying to get the puck out of the zone. McKenzie's there. Sometimes, like we've often talked about, you've got to do a little extra to make it happen. And to set up the Kopecky opportunity, that was a little extra by McKenzie. And you know, the play Billy just talked about, that's a perfect example of keeping the puck north-south. We talked about that earlier. North-south. Not trying to make a pass across the ice at the other team's blue line. Get it in deep first.
Jágr the goal here in the second. In this huge hockey game, essentially a playoff game. Really for both of these teams, they need it badly. Especially the Panthers, who trailed the Senators by 3 points, the Bruins by 4. Goodbranson puts it in front. It's blocked by Legwand. And again, Trocheck strong at the line, but this time Hoffman able to get out. Dan Ellis in goal has been outstanding. You know, the last 7-8 minutes, the Panthers have really controlled play.
You know, they've been very good at the offensive blue line. Ottawa's turned over the puck there a couple of times. One's evidenced by the play by McKenzie we just showed you.
And another strong second period by the Panthers. It's become a staple for this team. Eight goals in the second period in the 4 games on the road trip so far. Now the Sens in the offensive zone with a chance. Ellis stops MacArthur point blank. MacArthur again. For Mathot, the slap shot. Goodbranson blocked it. Little pressure here by the Senators. Clark MacArthur behind the net. Peugeot to the point for Karlsson. The shot stolen away. They've got a man ahead. It's Brandon Peary trying to get a step. Karlsson got back. All over Peary.
You're not going to beat Karlsson, that's for sure.
And Karlsson leads the rush. It's a 4-on-2 for Ottawa. Karlsson moving, centering feed, deflected wide. Here come the Panthers again, end-to-end we go. It's Peary. Kulikov's the trailer. He goes forward, though, for Hayes, who couldn't handle it. Things opened up there for a moment.
Now Peary might have thought he had a chance.
Huberdeau's in. Huberdeau, sharp angle shot. Anderson the save. And he will hold it.
The skating ability of Karlsson eliminated the chance that might have been by Peary.
With 7 games to go, all the Panthers could do is win their games and see where they wind up in a few weeks. Trying to catch the Boston Bruins for the final playoff spot. The Bruins got a goal in the opening few minutes, and they made it stand up playing that defensive style right now in Carolina. And they've got a 1-0 lead. The Panthers will be in Boston on Tuesday night.
You've got to cherish this time of year, and that's what's going to get you over the top. Gotta love the challenge.
That is correct.
Only goal in this one from Jaromir Jágr. He had a little conversation with Huberdeau, who set up the goal on the power play.
Well, you're taking a look at the game. The Panthers need to get rewarded. It should only be fair. They doubled the shots on goal against the Ottawa Senators, 26-13. 25-13.
Barkov and Turris in the circle. It's free at the dot. Jágr steps in to play it. And then a man falls down, allows Jágr the wraparound attempt. It kicks back up high, and it goes past Petrovic. Huberdeau got buried in front, and he's hurt. It's a penalty on the Ottawa Senators. And now they get the touch, and the Panthers are going to go back on the power play. They hammered Huberdeau in front.
It's Greiba again. He'll take his second penalty of the period.
He's a big, strong guy, and I tell you, he can hurt people. And he took the run at Jokinen at the offensive blue line. Totally unexpected by Jokinen. He just avoided it. And this is, you can see Huberdeau's a little hurt, but watch what happens.
They punched him in the head.
Punch to the head right there. I mean, how that can only be 2 minutes is, you know, a judgment call again. That is really, really an intent to injure.
I mean, what else is it, Denny, as you said, besides the intent to injure? Punch a guy in the head.
We saw it in the first period. Morawicki did it to Kempfer, and there was no call on that either.
Wow.
So a little extension there by Greiba. Doesn't really need to do that, to punch in the head.
Panthers got to make him pay. Off the draw, look out. At the blue line, the Senators shorthanded, looking for a chance. Ekblad blocked the centering attempt. And now Jágr works it free. Here come the Panthers with an odd man rush. It's a 4-on-2. Jágr, Kulikov, holding and shooting, and a save by Anderson. Huberdeau on the rebound, but it was touched with a high stick. Oh, what a chance for the Panthers there. Couldn't bury it.
Well, 4-on-2 is good, but it doesn't do anything if you don't move the puck. And Kulikov's hesitation gave the goaltender Anderson time to get back and square away at his shot, so he didn't get through, but you've got to move the puck. And the Florida Panthers had a golden opportunity on that opportunity there with the 4-on-1 break. Florida Panthers power play. There you see the numbers before and after. Yager.
Senators win the faceoff. Cowan from the point. Blocker saved by Ellis. Dave Bolland settles it down. Panthers trying to cash in and add to the lead. Campbell. Jokinen. Back again for Brian Campbell. Now it's Jimmy Hayes to the point again. Hayes goes to the front of the net. And they get the puck there. It's Bolland. In front, Jokinen score! You see Jokinen buries it! And the Panthers have a 2-0 lead against the Senators.
And again, a key factor in the Florida Panthers being in the game against the Montreal Canadiens was a power play. And maybe the factor in this hockey game, the killer instinct being shown by a power play goal. Granted, the Ottawa Senators have taken some penalties, some nasty penalties, and they've given the Florida Panthers an opportunity. But that play by Bolland, he kind of looked and may have froze Anderson a little bit, just enough so that Craig Anderson was not able to get across. But that's just an excellently executed play on the power play. The Florida Panthers now get a little bit of breathing room.
Jokinen, 2 goals on the road trip. Bolland sets it up. And how about the Panthers, this second period success? That is 9 goals in the 4 games on the trip in the second period. They scored twice last night in Montreal as well. And you see Jokinen able to finish it off. And the Panthers getting some power plays finally in this game and taking advantage. Hoffman the other way for Ottawa. Carlson falls down. Hoffman try to play it. Goodbranson is with him. Brian Campbell got the second assist on the Jokinen goal.
That was a stupid penalty by Greiba, too, and the Panthers did make him pay. There was no need to take that penalty.
It's amazing, too, Billy, throughout your career and mine. When you get a tough, bad penalty like that, teams do make you pay. That's what you want. That's how you get it back. Rather than somebody squaring off with Greiba, score on the power play.
The veterans, Yager and Jokinen, the goals for Florida in this ultra-important game here in Ottawa.
And you got to give Bolland a little credit. You talk about the secondary scoring, the injury to Bjugstad. Somebody else has got to step up. We've noticed Jordan Gallant getting Bolland on the power plays, and he delivered a great play.
Puck loose. Now MacArthur for Ottawa. Pressured by Kulikov. Throws it back down low. Turris roughed up by Petrovic. Trocheck and Kulikov trying to dig it out of there. But it's taken by the Senators again. Cowan with a slap shot. Boy, what did that hit as it whistled wide. And now Brandon Peary looking to catch up to the puck. At the angle, fires on goal and missed wide. It was rolling on him.
Boy, that Cowan shot for the point is no love for anybody up there, his own players or the Panthers. That was head high.
Everybody had to get out of the way, huh?
Yeah, sure. That's tough.
Lazar turns it over. But now Campbell's got to come all the way back, and he does. Taps it over to Vinny Trocheck. Oh, look out, right in front of the Panther net, but Ekblad says enough of this. Everybody settle down. Hayes tried to clear, but couldn't. Senators are going to push now. Down 2. Ekblad finds it, and Huberdeau's out. But stolen by Condra, taken back. Bouncing puck at center ice.
Bounced by everybody's stick. Inside the blue line, whether you're in your own zone or the other zone, very, very key area for the Florida Panthers. Try to get the puck out.
Ekblad, little feed ahead, but Greiba tried to clear. And Borowiecki, the simple clear off the wall. Yager. Up the boards for Barkov. So strong. Look at Barkov get it out of the zone, but Chiasson able to flip it back in. Panthers throw it out of the zone again.
Last minute of play in the second period.
15 games since Jágr's become a Panther. They're playing at over 100-point pace since they acquired the veteran. And he and his line mates have produced a dozen goals in the 15 games, including the first one here tonight. Greening down the wing. Bobby Ryan taken away by Willie Mitchell. Mitchell looking for an opening. Greening's all over him. Bolin there to help out. The battle is on, and Willie Mitchell away with it for Florida. Now the help from Jágr. And they get the clear to center. Jokinen keeps on pushing. 15 to go here in the second. Stolen by Upshaw, and he'll just fire it in. And what do we have, a too many men on the ice penalty?
Yeah, I think it may be against the Florida Panthers.
Oh, does that hurt?
That is not good.
With just 11 and a half seconds left in the period. Wow.
That is not good. Again, it's also, you're more liable to get that when you're in the second period. Both teams are much further away from the bench. Guys are scrambling to keep the shift short, but here you had 11 seconds remaining. Hard to know what happened, but the Florida Panthers get caught with too many men on the ice.
So the faceoff will be in the Panther zone. 11 and a half seconds left. They'll try to win the draw and get out of it. Ottawa will have the power play to start the third, but the Ottawa Senators win the faceoff with a chance. Dan Ellis again with the glove. How about in Carolina? They're in the final minute of the period there. The Hurricanes have tied the Bruins, Denny.
Take a look at this play by Turris. Look, he falls down on McKenzie and doesn't get up. McKenzie is unable to get back into the play. Little veteran move by the top centerman of the Ottawa Senators there.
Here's a chance for Karlsson, and Dan Ellis again.
Oh.
What a performance by Ellis, filling in for the injured Luongo.
Well, you got to get in that face-off circle and make a difference. The Florida Panthers have not been able to do that. You've had Barkov lose this last one. McKenzie lost the one before that, and they both turned into big shots on goal where Dan Ellis had to be strong. Again, all of this started with 11.5 seconds remaining in the second period. Panthers taking too many men on the ice penalty, and boy, it nearly cost them. Right now, the most important play in this game with 2.5 seconds remaining is a faceoff.
Dave Bolin's been the best Panther today at nearly 60% in the circle.
Turris again trying to go for 3 in a row.
Look at the stick whacking going on, and Willie Mitchell's had enough. Yeah, Ryan took a one too many, and Mitchell and Kulikov getting into it. Erik Karlsson doesn't want a piece of Willie Mitchell, I guarantee you that. Yeah. And Karlsson with a linesman in front of him throws a little shot. Mitchell with a little wry smile there.
Well, I don't know what they're going to do here. You think they set... If they send Karlsson
he
off,
punched Willie Mitchell in the face.
What a terrible penalty for Ottawa.
He punched him in the face.
That's terrible for Ottawa. Willie Mitchell is going as well, but I tell you what, in an opportunity where you're going to start the next period with a power play, for Karlsson to go to the box is not good for the Ottawa Senators.
Well, and Mitchell in the box, not great for the Panthers, I guess, on the PK.
Yeah, but you know what, if you're going to trade off, and the other team, and it all started actually with Ryan.
Yeah. Will you take that trade?
I would take that trade because it's a power play, Ottawa.
Gerard Gallant is red hot. I mean, Gerard is just...
Is there...
Jaromir Jagr's actually trying to calm him down a little bit.
Hey, high intensity this time of year, obviously. Very, very tough. This is the most important game, in my view, for both these teams. Last time they're facing each other.
So Karlsson and Mitchell to the box. All this happening in the final 11 and a half seconds of the period. And now off the draw, the period will come to an end. The Senators will start the third on a man advantage. But another huge second period by the Panthers. Jaromir Jagr having a long conversation again with the officials. And Danny, I gotta believe this is a culmination really of the last few weeks where the Panthers continuously have often got the short end of the stick with the calls.
Well, I tell you what, I mean, right now Ottawa is saying the same thing, tell you honestly, but when you look at the penalties the one by Greiba. There was no denying that was unnecessary for Greiba to take a penalty with a punch to the back of the head, and that is exactly why the Florida Panthers were able to make it pay. They got their power play goal. That is what's important. The power play, always important for the Florida Panthers, who had not scored a power play goal in 6 games leading up to the game last night in Montreal. Now 2 in a row. They scored power play goals in all important ones.
Playoff-type game, playoff-type performance for the Panthers. They'll try to close it out. We'll take a look at the scores and the standings. We'll update you on what's going on between the Bruins and Carolina. And we'll go inside another outstanding second period for the Panthers. They score twice. It was Jágr and then Jokinen for Florida. Both on the power play. We'll go to the third with Dan Ellis and the Cats. Up by 2. Here we go to start the third period. The Panthers up by 2 goals. The Ottawa Senators on the power play, though, to start this third period. They've gone to the third in Carolina. The Bruins and the Hurricanes even at 1. You see the story there. Boston ahead of the Panthers by 4 points. They lead Ottawa by 1 point. And Dan Ellis, the starter today for the banged up, nicked up Roberto Luongo, and Ellis has been outstanding through 40 minutes.
Jaromir Jágr, I tell you what, he just doesn't seem to tire. I look at his shifts, and guys are taking 35, 40-second shifts. He's out there for 45 or 50 seconds. I mean, that is a big difference.
On this penalty kill with Willie Mitchell in the box, the Panthers have Kulikov and Goodbranson on D. Carlson in the box for Ottawa, so they don't have him manning the point on the man advantage, the highest scoring defenseman in the NHL. Down low, Turris, stolen away by Dmitry Kulikov. And he just does get it by Cody Ceci.
You know, you talk about an undisciplined play. Certainly the frustration has gotten to Carlson. That's what we're trying to say between periods. And now he's not there for his team's power play, an all-important one. Indisciplined play there by Carlson, no doubt about it. Getting involved in a melee that really started with Bobby Ryan and Willie Mitchell.
Ottawa has shown an ability to come back, one of the better comeback teams in the NHL. And they're tied for 5th in scoring in the third period. The Panthers are tied for 5th for the fewest goals allowed in the third. Ceci works it free. Here's the shot. Ellis the save. The rebound, and Hoffman peels back. Dan Ellis strong again. That came out of the zone. It's offside on the Senators. Oh, what a performance by Ellis in a pinch.
You know, the announcement, very interesting. At the very beginning of this third period was a loud announcement to all the fans that if anything else is thrown on the ice, there was some stuff thrown on the ice when Carlson was penalized, the referee would then have the right to call a delay of game on the Ottawa Senators. So the home crowd has been warned already. Don't throw anything else on the ice. Does that mean no burgers?
Throwing the burgers when Hammond was playing.
Yeah. You throw a burger or anything, Ottawa gets another penalty.
They're set up now. Hoffman fakes the shot.
You know where that started, right?
Indeed.
Indeed. In South Florida is where that rule came in.
Here's Hoffman firing, and Goodbranson blocked it up high.
You look like a goalie on that one.
Panthers need one more clear. Ceci at the point. Bolin attacked him, but Ryan picks it up and shoots, deflected wide by Kulikov. Jokinen with a steal. What an effort by Jussi Jokinen. And the Panthers get out of it.
What a game Jokinen is having. His stick is everywhere, but none more important than on the ice when he got a pass from Bolin for the power play goal that separated the two teams by 2 goals. Jokinen is now leading the Florida Panthers with 5 shots on goal. But take a look at the defensive play. Look at that. Great anticipation, and he basically forced Hoffman, the rookie, into trying to make the pass between he and the boards, and he took it away.
He's got 2 goals on the road trip. 3 points in his last 5 for Jokinen. Coming up big for the Panthers down the stretch. The free agent pickup in the offseason. Panthers will get the change, and boy, Jokinen and Bolin have really been strong so far tonight.
This has been a great game for those two, no doubt about that. One of their best, and they're working together well, which is a great thing.
Ekblad leads the rush, has Yager with him as the trailer, throws one towards the net. Smart play by Ekblad, and it's gloved by Anderson. We want to thank our Panthers season seat holders for being there with us, and tonight's code word is gloves. In the next 24 hours, log on to mypanthersawards.com and put in the code word. We're back with you Tuesday night from Boston, 7 o'clock, the Cats and the Bruins. Florida back home Thursday night for Carolina.
Willie Mitchell just got on with penalty box. Every single Panther stood up on the bench. And gave him a hand and clapped on the bench.
Wow.
Getting back after that penalty.
Wow, remarkable.
Well, that's what you need when you get down to this nitty-gritty. Who knows better?
Ooh, they're jamming at it. Condra, now Lazar couldn't get the shot away. And Huberdeau tied up Lazar. Brian Campbell is away with it.
Who knows better that you become one in the playoffs than Willie Mitchell? 3 Game 7s he survived with the LA Kings last season. You know he knows what it takes to win the big one.
How many times were they down in games and series as well? Turris fires. Look at Ellis way out to meet the shot. And the clear by Trocheck. Peary trying to bear down and negate the icing, and he does. Great hustle by Peary. And Hayes takes over. Peary behind the net. Looking. Goes to the point man, Petrovic. Great effort and hustle by Brandon Peary there. Now stolen away by Carlson. Feathered to the Panther line, broken up by Petrovic. Trocheck is in. The give to Hayes on the wing with a shot. Stick save by Anderson. Carlson. Trocheck with a steal. They're going to get a penalty, though, on Trocheck. Oh, man. Senators power play it and negates a Panther scoring chance.
21, 2 minutes for slash.
There's a slashing call on Trocheck. He was showing the referee that it was a push. Down he goes. Well, that call's got to get made, you know. I mean, that's not a dive, and may have been off balance somewhat, Carlson, but that's certainly a legitimate call. Now the Panthers got to go to work.
Last thing they want to do is put themselves in trouble. They've been so good. 5-on-5 defensively. Second straight power play here for Ottawa. Kopetsky chops at it and just does get it out of the zone.
And you keep an eye on 65 Carlson. He was not there for the last power play. He's going to want to make an impact.
McKenzie with a steal here. Taken back by the veteran Legwand.
Almost half his points have come on the power play for Carlson. 26 of his 60 points on the power play.
Bobby Ryan puts it for Zibanejad right through the slot. Legwand now. Around for Carlson. Back the other way. Goodbranson got there first. Good read by Goodbranson. And Dave Bolland able to get the clear the length of the ice.
Well, that's the play of Bolin and UC Jokinen. Right now they're together on the penalty kill. Remember, they were together, created the power play goal as well. They're having a big game.
Carlson at the point. Takes a shot and they score. And the penalties come back to haunt the Panthers. It's now a 1-goal game.
Well, there's the effect of having Erik Karlsson on your power play. He may have taken an undisciplined penalty at the end of the second period. He was not part of the power play the Ottawa Senators had at the beginning of this period. But the Senators taking a penalty. Now he was on the ice, and this is where the magic is. No better than the leading scorer amongst defensemen in the NHL to tell a young defenseman how to keep your head up and shoot the wrist shot. Erik Karlsson, his 20th goal of the season, already the leading scorer amongst Ottawa Senators on their power play, leading scorer in the NHL amongst defensemen.
Dave Bolland got caught way down deep on that play. Allowed a lot of time for Karlsson. You got to play up high against a player like Karlsson.
Lazar with a steal and a shot deflected away by Kulikov. The Panthers got to be smarter. I mean, they're fully in control of this game at 2-0 and 2 straight penalties taken.
Well, I tell you what, this is not an unfamiliar position for the Florida Panthers to have the 1 goal separating them and the opponent in the third period. They have the lead. Right now they know that their work ethic is probably primo in deciding this game. So the Panthers have the lead, and they're in the game where they've done very well and outshot the opponent 30-20 at this point.
Here comes Yager, controlling and shooting. Anderson to save. Big rebound. It chips back up high. Mitchell settles it down. Floats one wide of the net intentionally. Yager's after it again.
Anderson missed that. I thought he was looking to play with a stick.
So all 3 goals in this game have come on the power play. Anderson played that one himself. Stepping into it is Campbell to hold it in. Huberdeau up high. Ekblad, the slap shot blocked. Ekblad gets it back. Barkov now. Chopped down, able to play it behind the net. Bouncing there. Peugeot under pressure, but able to just get it through to Ceci. It's strength against strength. Ottawa, a good comeback team in the third. The Panthers oh so stingy defensively in the third with 14:01 to go.
Not so sure why the Florida Panthers did not get that puck moving. Again, every face-off in the defensive zone is potentially hazardous. So even though you've got a situation where right now I thought the Ottawa Senators were changing, therefore plenty of time and easy to move the puck up the ice. So communication has to be key here going in the third period. Goaltender talk to players and vice versa.
Scrum right off the face-off. And now Zibanejad behind the net. Petrovic with a good hit. Takes it away, but Ryan is there. Put out in front. The shot went wide from Hoffman. Kopetsky able to clear all the way down. Camphor knocked it down. Zibanejad's got it, though. Up ahead, Ryan offside, though. He was in early. We've got a 1-goal game here in Ottawa with 13:38 left. See, Jokinen, Billy, has played some big hockey for Florida down the stretch.
The Panthers have a power play goal that the goal that has the Panthers in front. Pay attention to 61, Mark Stone. Now roll this play. Mark Stone 61. Now he's got to come back, and he's responsible for Jokinen. Now stop it. Watch the puck focus by 61 Stone on Bolin. Now roll this play. He just stares, and now it goes right to Jokinen. And Mark Stone right there hung his head. Look at him throw his head in the air. But that is taking advantage of the power play. When a player makes a mistake, Jussi Jokinen said it in the interview to me. He said, we've taken advantage of what they have given us, and that was a perfect example on that power play.
I tell you, the sticks are in the lane. Those passes are very, very crucial and not easy to make. That's why Boland's having a solid night, as is Jokinen. I think earlier I may have mistook Stone for Bobby Wyatt.
Carlson, who has the Ottawa goal, ahead for Lazar. Panthers, who lead the league in 1-goal games, are locked in another one. Condra. Down low, good. Branson uses the shoulder. Upshaw and Bolin, and they're out. Dave Bolin leads the rush. Jokinen's with him. And now Jussi Jokinen floats it in front. Past Bolin. He'll keep the pressure on Mathot. And Upshaw is there as well.
They'll be looking for Upshaw to have that energy. He's played about half the shifts of Bolin and Jokinen because obviously Bolin and Jokinen have been on the power play. They've also been killing penalties. And look for Upshaw to add a little bit of energy on this line as the game goes on.
Kulikov for Huberdeau. Barkov and Yager with him. Huberdeau in over the line. Cuts to the middle. It rolled on him, and Anderson won't take any chances. 12 and a half to go. Be part of the Panther family. You can become a season seat holder for next season. You get eligible for purchasing this year's Stanley Cup playoff tickets. Flexible plans available. Get in on the fun. It's been quite a season for the Cats. Ticket reps are standing by. 954-835-PUCK.
These Panther games don't lack excitement. They're always 1-goal game, Goldie.
It is amazing, isn't it? Every night.
Unbelievable.
Hey, you know what? We talked about that early in the season. In November, we were saying that, and it is the kind of hockey that prepares them for the playoffs.
And these are all virtually playoff games for the Panthers, trying to catch up in the race.
Well, you hope that it pays off.
Yager gets it deep. Barkov bearing down. Anderson plays it around the boards. And a steal by Yager. Double teamed. Yager stays with it. Barkov takes over. Barkov gets hit from behind. Huberdeau down low with Turris. And they're able to get it to Ceci. Stone leads the rush. Ekblad bumped by MacArthur. They both go down. Barkov trying to dig it out of there. Still free.
It's okay to blow the whistle.
In behind the net. And the Panthers win the battle. Huberdeau with a smart, simple lift to center. Zibanejad lost it at the line. Derek McKenzie with that energy. McKenzie, one of two Panthers, along with Campbell, to play every game this year. McKenzie putting the pressure on, but taken by Zibanejad. Peary closed on him in the poke check by Hayes. Good job by the Panthers, not letting them get through center with any speed.
You know, and that's the key to the Ottawa Senators being able to create their scoring opportunities. Speed through the neutral zone.
Oh, McKenzie and Ryan going at it tooth and nail, and McKenzie able to get the clear.
Boy, good thing that Cowan decided to take a little spin, because that puck would have stayed in had Cowan not turned his back to the play.
Jussi Jokinen trying to get by Carlson, and Jokinen does. Sharp angle, Jokinen puts it right towards the net, stick by Anderson. Upshaw couldn't get it deep, but it's knocked down again by Jokinen at the line. What an effort tonight by Jussi Jokinen. Right now he has the goal that's made the difference. Bolin down low off a turnover. Knocked off his stick. And here come the Senators. Carlson leads the rush. Kulikov finished the check on him. Bolin with Lazar. Lazar's got it. Flips it to the point. Look out, it's Carlson with a wrister. Kulikov blocked the shot. They've got to be careful with Carlson. Here he is again, dancing his way into the offensive zone on the backhander. Dan Ellis makes the save. And the Panthers clear the slot. 9:57 to go. Well, in essence, a playoff game for the Panthers, Denny. You need players that are making playoff-type plays, and the Panthers are getting it.
Well, you know, the fact is that Upshaw had to make a decision. Watch this. Kulikov's the guy taking the shot. But look down below 19. You see where Upshaw went down to the front of the net. Essentially, when he saw Kulikov move up, he went and covered for him. So there had been a mix-up, but they actually fixed it just by making the right decision. So both Kulikov and Upshaw thinking playoff hockey.
Face-off win by Turris. Goodranson finishes the check on MacArthur. And Jussi Jokinen, nice little play, and Bolin's out. Bolin floats it ahead for Scotty Upshaw. Bolin goes to the net. But now it's controlled by Ottawa. Stone to center. Mitchell cut it off. All three goals in this game have come on the power play. Two by the Panthers in the second, Yager and Jokinen. And then Carlson here early in the third to make this a one-goal game. The Bruins are still tied at 1 in the third in Carolina. Pressure-packed games as the regular season winds down. In essence, they are playoff games. Steal by Barkov. Huberdeau tries to push it over the line. Hoffman takes it the other way for Ottawa. Hoffman has that speed down the wing. Nice stick work by Alex Petrovic to take it away, and Yager carries to center. The give to Huberdeau. Barkov on the wing now. Barkov gets interfered with and taken down. We get a whistle and a stoppage, and Yager didn't like what Borowiecki did to his 19-year-old teammate.
Borowiecki is a tough customer, and a very big part of his game is to be physical. And there was a bit of a hold, actually, more than anything else. And then losing balance was Barkov. So you just love the way the Panthers are covering for one another. This is just a different way of doing it. You saw Upshaw covering for Kulikov. Now you've got Yager going right to Borowiecki and calling him names.
Boy, you got to love what Yager's done for this team.
Yeah.
Yager charges into the circle. Borowiecki takes away, though. The clear to center ice. Kulikov steps up. Barkov working and gets a D. 8.5 to go.
Well, as we've seen by both those examples, playing for one another is so crucial as games get tighter and tighter.
Petrovic paired up with Kulikov on defense. Good play to get it to head to Yager, and the Panthers get a wholesale change. Dan Ellis with 20 saves in this game, filling in for Luongo. Nicked up day-to-day is Luongo, nothing serious. Now Pajot in the offensive zone. In front, Lazar fanned on the shot, picked up by Pajot, though. Pajot to the point. Cowan has some trouble with it. Panthers, though, unable to get it out of the zone. Lazar again. Condra now. Free puck bouncing around. Kopetsky able to clear.
Oh.
And then Kopetsky got interfered with by Lazar. They let that go, and Greiber resets for the Senators. What a battle it is now. Jokinen back on, along with Peary and Kampfer. Zibanejad tried to break in. Ekblad wouldn't allow it. And then Jokinen deftly knocked it out of the air. And now they complete that line change. Ryan has to wait for his players to get onside.
Last time these two teams are meeting this year, and it's very important, both battling for one of those playoff spots.
Bobby Ryan picks his way over the line. Goodbranson got a piece of it, picked up, and Ellis with a save on Hoffman. And no rebound.
Now, Bobby Ryan is a dangerous player. You never know when he's going to show up. He's been quiet in this game, not getting a lot of shots on goal. But you never know. With that kind of caliber, boy, I tell you, that was a nice little move by Goodbranson, getting the stick in the way. Bobby Ryan is one of those dangerous players.
Draw to Dan Ellis's right. Free at the dot. Willie Mitchell goes behind the net. Stone is on him, and Stone able to play it back to the point. Carlson back the other way. Goodbranson knocked down at the line, and it did come out of the zone, so it's offside. Strong defensive game by Goodbranson today, and he's had some shots on goal as well.
Well, you know, he's got to be physical in his game, and he showed that right away in the very first shift of the game against Kyle Turris.
Goodbranson has taken 5 shots, 4 have gotten to the net. 6 shots on goal in the game for Jussi Jokinen. Game high for Eiderscheid. And he has the go-ahead goal right now. Goodbranson is back. Up the wall, able to get the clear. But it will be icing on the Panthers.
You know, when you take a look at the opportunities that the Florida Panthers will get, there won't be very many. It's going to be a tight game from here on in. The important thing is to get shots on goal. Brandon Peary has not had a lot of great opportunities, but he has had some. He's got 2 shots on goal, but he's missed 4. 4 of his shots have not found the net. And that's where you want to try and focus on, right? It doesn't matter how hard the shot is. Try and get everything on net.
Hoffman off the faceoff, up high, turns, shoots, blocked by Bolin. Dave Bolin wouldn't let him get free. Anderson way out of the net, able to clear. Here comes Carlson for Zibanejad. Huberdeau strong defensively. Look at Huberdeau get free. Great effort by Huberdeau, and he gives to Yager, winding, waiting, pulls Anderson out. Oh, Jaromir Yager! You gotta be kidding me! It's 3-1 Panthers! Yager with maybe the play of the year.
Hall of Fame is all over that play, and I'm going to make up a word, Yager Master. That is unbelievable. What he has done under the pressure, and he's got, take a look at Anderson. I mean, totally fooled on the play. It's a 1-on-4. This is an incredible play by the Yager Master. Oh. 6 minutes remaining in the hockey game. Now a 2-goal lead. 2 of the goals the first one by Jagr, and this masterpiece by the Jagr master.
You know, it's not the second guess. I chuckled at the deadline when people said, well, the Panthers gave up a lot.
Yeah.
I had to laugh a little bit at a couple of draft picks for this guy, but nobody could have envisioned he would do what he's doing. 720 goals now on the career. 2 in this game for Jagr. Huberdeau gets another assist with him. And a huge goal makes it 3-1 Florida with 5.5 to go.
Well, you gotta love the play by Huberdeau again, who gets better and better as the games go on. The way he got himself the puck out of the Florida Panthers zone, little nifty stick handling at his own blue line. That was key to setting up Jagr.
Look at the effort by Kampfer and Kopecky now in the offensive zone, working the walls. Brian Campbell with a shot, that gets blocked, carries back, but there to cover is Aaron Ekblad, and he just gets it out to center. Now Ekblad is with it, taken back the other way. Huberdeau now, 16 points in his last 14 games.
That
Wow.
defensive play by him was just as big as the goal by Jagr.
No question.
Just started. Wasn't quite as pretty as the goal by Jagr,
Well,
but just as effective.
I don't know. His couple of nifty moves to stick handle his way out of a lot of traffic in a really tough area.
Senators throw it cross ice. Carlson, sharp angle. It trickles in behind the net. Condra now. Bolin and Campbell on him. 2-a-side battle. Ekblad over to get it. And Ekblad able to chop it down the ice. On goal, show no icing.
Craig Anderson was doing the Michael Phelps there after that initial fake by Jaromir Jagr. He was just swimming in the net. Did he ever bite on that initial play?
Huberdeau, a steal. Upshaw puts it wide. It's been a bit of a struggle for Craig Anderson, who may not be 100%. Gave up 4 last night in a loss in overtime in Toronto. Jagr at center. Cross ice pass stolen away. Jagr now 7 points in his last 6 games. Kyle Turris in the offensive zone. Saved by Ellis. Battle down low, and Goodbranson just wouldn't let MacArthur free. Look at Goodbranson work. And Goodbranson gathers it in and finds Jagr. And the help from Willie Mitchell. Tooth and nail they go. And Mitchell gets interfered with and spun down at the blue line. Play rolls on. Goodbranson. Knocked down by Zibanejad. Barkov so strong. And he clears ahead.
Looks like he learned that move from Jagr.
Panthers in a change. Ryan is in with a shot. Kick save for Dan Ellis. Steven Kampfer goes glass. As we roll on 3 minutes to go. The Panthers trying to get within a point of Ottawa. They don't know if they'll gain on Boston yet. They're still 1-1 late in the third at Carolina. But the Panthers will get 2 cracks at the Bruins still remaining in the season. And Derek McKenzie will kill a little clock. Jokinen on a loose puck. Pajot, checked by Upshaw. Upshaw watching Ceci now. Ceci trying to get out. And he does. We'll keep an eye on Anderson. Here comes Hoffman. Backhander in front, and they score! The Senators answer back, and it's a 1-goal game again. Oh, my.
Anybody who's watched Pajot play will tell you how slick he can be. And the Florida Panthers allowed the Ottawa Senators to get in the zone with a little speed. Right here is a play by Hoffman. Leading rookies in scoring, and look at that. Pajot finds himself behind Kulikov. Oh, boy. Florida Panthers do not like to make it easy. The lead is now reduced back to 1.
Mike Hoffman's a heck of a player, too.
Yeah. Well, he's a rookie, but he's a 25-year-old rookie. Mike Hoffman has played a lot of hockey in the American League up and down the last several years with the Senators. This year, 25 goals. He knows how to find the puck to the net.
Oh, boy. Here we go. Down the stretch again. Another nail-biter. Jokinen clears. Kampfer shoots in. Less than 2 minutes left. High-scoring Senators. Panthers looking to hold them off. Anderson's out of the net. Kopetsky, empty net the other way. Couldn't gather it in, though. Turris takes it. Ottawa's got the extra man on.
Kopetsky had the puck, a perfect pass from Willie Mitchell. He's got to make that play on the outside. Easy plays have to be made.
Offside on Ottawa.
Ottawa got a bit of a break. The Senators got a bit of a break here because the puck had been turned over and more ice time in your own zone. Not a good thing. Look for this guy here. Karlsson making his way back into the Norris Trophy talk, obviously, leading all defensemen in scoring, and a big reason why this Ottawa Senators team had this amazing run.
Anderson is back on the ice. He's in the high slot. So if Ottawa wins the draw, he'll come out. And they do, and there goes Anderson. The net is empty again. Panthers have never trailed in this game. They've had a couple of 2-goal leads. Senators have fought back to make it a 1-goal game. Karlsson at the point. Knocked down by Goodbranson. It's offside. It did come out of the zone. Oh, wait a second. It's a penalty instead on the Panthers. My goodness, they get Kopetsky. Oh, my. 2-man advantage coming up for Ottawa.
Kopetsky again not able to get the puck out of the zone. There you see where he is, and he's not able to get to the puck. Now the stick comes up, and look at that. As he turns around, he touches the helmet, and that is the call. Oh, my goodness.
3 straight penalties by the Panthers. The Senators take a timeout, and now the Ottawa Senators will have a 2-man advantage with a goaltender pulled, trying to tie it up. What a game this has been. The Panthers have never been behind any.
You know, the reason why the Florida Panthers are where they are right now, Jagr has done an incredible job. That was the first goal, a power play goal. Another power play goal by another veteran, Jokinen. And then Karlsson, the leading scorer amongst defensemen, comes in. This one was just a beauty. Just a beauty. It gave the Florida Panthers a 3-1 lead. And then Pajot, yes, the young slick player of the Gatineau area, right across the river from Ottawa, brings it back to 3-on-2. The frustrating thing for the Panthers, they've had a couple of opportunities to get the puck out of the zone, and then in his effort to do that, Kopetsky, his stick high up on the helmet of Karlsson, and a high stick is called.
Bolin and Turris in the circle. 6-on-4 advantage, and Ottawa controls. Here's the shot, blocked by Kulikov. And Kulikov to clear. Bolin after it, the net is empty. Knocked down at center, though, and the Senators have possession. Erik Karlsson to center. Turris at the Panther line. Throws it deep in the zone. He and Kulikov bang. Mitchell for Bolin. Panthers are going to get the clear. Bolin in the empty net. Bingo! Dave Bolin gives the Panthers a short-handed goal. It's their first shorty of the season. He couldn't have picked a better time.
You sometimes think it is not so bad to be in this kind of a situation shorthanded late in the game, because this is the only time you can ice the puck and you're not going to get called for it. So there was no concern for Bolin. All he needed to do was to make sure he got the puck past Karlsson and then to try and find the net. But what a yeoman's job today by the Florida Panther veterans. Can I name a few? How about Bolin? How about Jagr? How about Jokinen? And how about Ellis in goal? The veterans of the Florida Panthers hockey team, almost to a man, people that were added to the lineup by Dale Talon, the general manager of the Florida Panthers, most responsible for this huge victory. Maybe the most important game of the season for both these hockey teams, and the veterans have really come through.
Senators will still be on the power play. The Panthers were the only team in the NHL without a shorthanded goal, but here in game number 76,
wow,
Dave Bolin got one of the biggest goals the Florida Panthers have had this year.
And what a timely goal it was.
Ellis drops it off for Kulikov. Anderson is still in the net. Bolin with the pressure, and they clear again. And McKenzie shoots in, and they can't get Anderson to the bench yet. We approach half a minute to go here in the third. Hoffman stick handles in and shoots. He missed high. Anderson is still in his net. And I'm kind of surprised, to be honest with you. Barkov looking to get in. Barkov short-handed, moves. Barkov to the backhand. He couldn't tuck it in. Anderson made the stop. But now we're down under 20 left. The Panthers on the road in back-to-back games. Got a point last night in Montreal. Trying for the biggest win so far this season here in Ottawa. 5 to go. The shot goes wide. Forget about the Hamburglar. We'll call him the Dan Burglar. Ellis in for Luongo. Comes up huge and the Panthers get the win.
I'll tell you what, Dan Ellis was outstanding on the play. 27 shots he faced, just 2 of them got by him. Dan Ellis coming in relief couldn't have been better. He could not have been calmer. He could not have been stronger, particularly in the early goings of the first period. And I tip my hat to the veterans on the Florida Panthers. Jagr, Jokinen, Bolin, strong throughout the lineup as the Florida Panthers were looking for secondary scoring, and Dave Bolin and Jokinen along with Jagr, just an outstanding effort, I think, by the veterans on the team. Really, I can't say enough, but Dan Ellis gets the tip of my hat for coming in after not playing for the last, 6 games and playing like he's never missed a beat.
And I'll tell you, he made some great saves in that opening period. The Senators had some good looks, and the Panthers never trailed in this game. And yes, they are 2 huge points. We'll update you on what's going on with Boston as they come down the stretch in the third against Carolina. And we'll hear from the dressing room. The Panthers get it done here on the road in Ottawa. Jaromir Jagr with 2 goals in the game, including the game winner. Right here, Panthers Live postgame is next.